Hey, what's up YouTube, and welcome back to another Genshin Impact video. Today, I'm going to be going over Fischl. Fischl is an extremely flexible 4-star sub DPS who is great at providing lots of electro particles to your team. She requires relatively low investment and has an extremely simple kit and simple playstyle. Next, I'm going to be showing my Fischl that I'm going to be using for today's video guide. My Fischl has an attack stat of 2,392 attack. She has 62% crit rate, 108% crit damage, 140 energy recharge, and 61.6 electro bonus damage. I'm running her on the R2 Ally Hunter. She has a Shimenawa set and a Thundering Fury set. She is C4, and her talents are 6, 12, 8. First, let's get into the best weapons for Fischl. The first weapon I have for us today is the Ally Hunter. The Ally Hunter's passive is, while a character equipped with this weapon is in the party but not on the field, their damage increases by 2.5% every second up to a max of 25%. When the character is on the field for more than 4 seconds, the aforementioned damage buff decreases by 5% per second until it reaches 0%. This bow is a great choice for Fischl because it fits her kit extremely well. Fischl does most of her damage off-field using her talent ability Oz, and this is extremely great because we fully utilizes Ally Hunter's passive abilities. The Ally Hunter also comes with a substat of 27.6 attack percent, which is great for Fischl's Oz because Oz scales off of Fischl's attack percent. Another great option we have for Fischl is the Stringless. It increases elemental skill and elemental burst damage by 24%. This is great because Oz is only dealing electro damage, which will get increased by 24%. The elemental mastery substat is only useful if you're in a team that procs reactions, otherwise isn't as useful as attack percent, but is still a good option. If you can't get your hands on either of these weapons because they're both gotcha weapons, the Favonius Warbow is a great option as well. It has an energy recharge substat of 61.3, and the passive reads crits have a 90% chance to generate a small amount of elemental particles, which will regenerate 6 energy for the character and can only occur once every 1.75 seconds. This will basically allow your Oz to be up 24/7 because you have such an influx of energy. Next, let's get into Fischl's artifact sets. My favorite artifact set to run on Fischl is the 2-piece Thundering Fury and the 2-piece of Gladiator's Finale or Shimenawa's set. The 2-piece Thundering Fury gives you an electro damage bonus of 15%, and the Gladiator's Finale or Shimenawa set gives you an attack bonus of 18%. Fischl doesn't really require a 4-piece set to extremely synergize with her kit that well because it's so simple. So we will focus on maxing out her scalings on Oz, which was electro damage and attack percent. Another set you could run on Fischl is a 4-piece Thunder Soother set, which reads increases damage against opponents affected by electro for 35%. This set is usually situational for your team comp. It is only effective if your team is not proccing any electro reactions, so you can repeatedly proc the 4-piece Thundering Fury set. This would encircle teams that are usually non-reaction heavy, like a Xiao team, or a team that relies heavily on electro damage. Next, I want to talk about the Tenacity of the Militarist set. The 4-piece Tenacity of the Militarist set reads, when an elemental skill hits an opponent, the attack percent of all nearby party members is increased by 20%, and the shield strength is increased by 30%. For 3 seconds. This effect can be triggered once every 1.5 seconds. This effect can be triggered by a character who is not on field. The problem I see with this set is you are starting to transform your Fischl into a support Fischl, and it is going to lean away from more damage. This is why I usually don't recommend building the Tenacity of the Militarist set on Fischl. There is one more set that I want to caution everyone about, and that is the 4-piece Thundering Fury set. The 4-piece Thundering Fury set only works when Fischl is on the battlefield, and that doesn't really fit Fischl's playstyle and viability because usually people are using her when she's off battlefield. Therefore, you won't get the extra damage bonuses from the Thundering Fury's passive. With Fischl's artifact sets out of the way, let's get into stats you want to build on those artifacts. Stats you want to build on Fischl are pretty simple: crit damage, crit rate, and attack percent. You want to build attack percent on Fischl because it is the stat that Oz scales with. His electro damage is based on Fischl's attack. Energy recharge is also a nice stat to have on Fischl, but she does not require a lot of energy recharge. Building around 110 to 120 is a good range for Fischl because Oz provides so many energy particles. On her sands, you're going to want to build attack percent. On her Goblet, it's an easy electro damage. And on her Circlet, it's a crit rate or crit damage. If you have neither a crit damage or a crit rate Circlet on Fischl, it's okay to run an attack percent Circlet. Next, let's go on to Fischl's Constellations. Constellations are usually extremely great on Fischl because they buff her damage so much, but she is still great at C0. Fischl C1 is when Oz is not on the battlefield. When Fischl uses a normal attack, Oz also fires a jolt of damage, dealing 22% of Fischl's attack. Next, let's go into Fischl C2. For C2 is when she first initially summons Oz. It deals an extra 200% attack damage upon being summoned, and its AoE is increased by 50%. Her C3 increases Oz by 3 levels. Her C4 is when she uses her ult. It deals 222% of attack as electro damage to surrounding opponents. When the skill duration ends, Fischl regenerates 20% of her HP. Her C5 increases her burst by 3 levels, and her C6 extends the duration of Oz's presence during the field by 2 seconds. Additionally, Oz performs joint attacks with your active character when present, dealing 30% of Fischl attacks as electro damage. Fischl C1 and C6 don't provide much viability to support Fischl, but rather physical Fischl instead. And her C2 and C4 provides most of the constellations that you need for a support Fischl. If you plan on rolling for Fischl in future banners, you only really need to go up to C4 to get the most out of your constellations. Next, let's get into talents for Fischl. To start things off, let's head straight into Fischl's elemental skill, Night Rider. When you first summon Oz, he deals electro damage in a small AoE, and for the ability's duration, Oz will continuously attack nearby opponents with electro damage. I want to state that Fischl's ult does indeed snapshot, whether it's from your ult or your elemental skill. If you don't know what that is, I recommend watching my video on snapshotting, but basically, if you use all your attack buffing abilities before you summon Oz, Oz will carry those effects throughout his entire duration. Short summary, use your Kujosara attack buff and your Bennett burst before summoning Oz. Fischl's ult basically grants you the ability to reposition Oz and reset his cooldown timer. Upon casting her ult, Fischl will transform into Oz and you can fly around the map and through enemies, dealing electro damage. Once the ult's duration ends, if Oz was currently on the battlefield, this will reset his cooldown timer. Fischl's ultimate ability is basically just used to reposition Oz or reset his cooldown timer. In terms of leveling talents, I think the only talent you really need to level is Fischl's skill, Oz. Next, getting into Fischl's passive talents, Stellar Predator. When Fischl hits Oz with a fully charged aim shot, Oz brings down Thundering Retribution, dealing AoE electro damage equal to 152.7% of the arrow's damage. Her next passive talent is Undone Be Thy Sinful Hex. If your current active character triggers an electro-related elemental reaction when Oz is on the battlefield, the opponent shall be stricken with Thundering Retribution, dealing electro damage equal to 80% of Fischl's attack. Fischl's last talent allows her to complete expeditions 25% faster in Mondstadt. Next, let's get into Fischl's team comps. Let's discuss pros and cons for Fischl so we know what we're working with when we build our team comps. Fischl is an extremely flexible unit that can fit into any team that needs extra off-field damage or electro particles. But there are a couple drawbacks to Fischl's amazing viability. She is only single target and of the electro element, which is known to not provide the strongest elemental reactions, consisting of superconduct, electrocharged, and overload. She shines most brightly in physical teams to provide the superconduct reaction to lower enemy physical resistances, or electro teams to provide damage and electro particles. Her most common physical team is a Eula team. We use Eula for on-field DPS damage, Fischl for off-field damage and energy particles, Rosaria for off-field damage and energy particles, as well as Diona for sustain and energy particles. This team is extremely energy particle heavy because Eula needs a lot of energy particles for her high costing burst ultimate, and Fischl slots right in with the others, providing a large amount of energy particles to the DPS Eula. Another team that she slots extremely well in is electrocharged teams. One example of a highly popular electrocharged team is a Child team comp. Child will act as the on-field DPS, Fischl will act as the off-field support damage, Beidou will act as the off-field support damage, and Sucrose will provide support utility to the team. Because the electro element can coexist with the hydro element during electrocharge, it means that we can take full advantage of the Thunder Soother set. Additionally, Sucrose will reduce the elemental resistances of the elements that she swirls. Now of course, Fischl can basically fit almost anywhere with a team that has an open slot. Even with my current Shout team, I could take out Albedo and slot in Fischl, and the DPS difference wouldn't be that different. That about wraps it up for today's YouTube guide. Fischl is an extremely powerful off-field support that deals incredible electro damage and is great at applying the electro statuses to many enemies. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to make sure I see you all in the next video.